Hey y'all, Joe here, Southern Coast of Cooking coming at you. Tonight, this is March 16th. Had to look, I was thinking 17th, but I was thinking February too. But anyway, March 17th, 2020. And, we've all got a bunch on our minds here lately. And kind of everybody on YouTube is kind of doing a video on the subject. Want new opinions and stuff like that, so I said I might as well put something out, give my opinion or my concerns on everything that's going on with the situation, as you all know, with the coronavirus and the big scare and all that stuff. So basically, if you ask what I've been doing, I've been going to our local, went to my local Costco just opened. And I got some meats and got some stuff. First off, let me explain and go buy a ton of toilet paper or anything like that. What my concerns are, more than the virus itself. I mean, obviously it is dangerous, more dangerous for some people than others. But my main thing is just the social and economic unrest or disrest that it's going to cause. Especially with people being sent home from work, and things are different in different parts of the country. Around here, I mean, they just today, down here in Mississippi, so all our schools, just about, the kids are home, my kids are home, brother, sister kids are home, everybody's home, kids are home from school. Non-essential personnel just about has been sent home from most workplaces, especially, government places and stuff like that. Of course, I work at sales, and it's called small car dealerships, so we don't have that many people there. So we'll keep going as long as we can, thankfully, because I get sent home. There's going to be no salary for that. But anyway, it is what it is. Got to prepare for these type things. My wife, she works in a medical establishment, so they have some plans set in place for there. But anyway. With that being said, my main concern that I see is just the social and economic side of this, with people being out of work, not being able to pay their bills, in the short run. Obviously, these people going out buying 100,000, whatever, 500 rolls of toilet paper and stuff. I really don't understand that. I mean, I understand get you some supplies that you need so you don't really have to leave the house for a couple of weeks, because that's the idea of this whole thing. The way I get it, everybody kind of quarantine themselves for a few weeks, and then we kind of recalculate and see where we're at. But, with that being said, there's a few things that I think you should think about, nothing to panic about, just in case. I know today, and this sounds silly, but the Gaming Commission just shut our casinos down. I said, why are you worried about that? I don't. But that just goes to show, the casinos stay open no matter what, just about. I mean, that's a huge deal. So if they can, the power, if they're shutting business like that down, which is fine. Either way, no matter what you think about the casinos, that's not my point here. It's just they will shut anything and everything down. They've got to. So, look for the point of, we could. This is something, not just speculating, it may happen. This is something that could be probably is a reality. We may have to go 3-4 weeks without a paycheck. People may, stuff like that. That's what I'm looking at. How long can you survive at home without digging way too deep into your savings, without having to leave the house too much and doing things like that off of what you've got in the house to keep your family there. Another thing is safety. Okay, what are they going to do in the long run? You've got your public service, your police officers, stuff like that. How's this going to affect people who, let's say, I'll just say, anytime there's a disaster or there is, let's say there's martial law or emergencies going, after storms or whatnot, a lot of times you get characters who just come out and they take advantage of people, situations. So there could be looting of some sort, or I don't know exactly how it would go down, but I could just see desperate times, as they say, can cause for desperate measures. So might need to just think about a way to protect you and your family. You want to make sure that, and I'm going to be as vague but to the point about this as possible, because unfortunately YouTube frowns upon talking about defending yourself. But, especially for those of you in defense unfriendly states, make sure you do have a way to defend yourself and your family, and just to have that. Not to say you'll need, Lord help us. Hopefully that's never gonna come to that point, but it just goes to show we just never know. So luckily where I live, at least for now, it has been for the past, as far back I remember, we're pretty defense friendly. Okay, so that's not something that I really worry about, but I do worry about some of you guys I know in other states where I've seen governors, mayors, or whoever, your congressman may step in at this time and take advantage of this situation to take some things from you. So that's a whole nother thing, but it's just something you need to think about. But obviously there's the whole virus itself. I'm not a medical person. I don't know enough about that to give any kind of advice on that, okay? Except for what you see, and you get emails every day, probably just like I do, from your bank and everybody else telling you what you need to do. I'm sure you've got plenty of advice on that. I'm not going to even step in trying to tell you about, wash your hands for this long, or use this kind of sanitizer, or, leave your shoes outside. And, I'll tell you a couple little things I've thought of that, I'm sure they've said too, but as far as leaving your shoes outside, my wife and I said, shoes that you're out, going to the grocery store and work and stuff like that, we probably should do that anyway. Leave those shoes at the door. Have your pair of house shoes. That's just little things. And I was thinking about, your steering wheel in your car, your cell phone. Those two things, I think, get a lot of bacteria and stuff like on there. Again, I'm not trying to be any kind of expert about that. But one thing I do want to bring up, and I had a friend that brought this up to me, was when you talk about going to the grocery or wherever the market, and you're picking up your meats. Me, I'm always stocking on that, looking for sales, and take that home. Maybe if it's plastic wrap, maybe find something that you can wipe that down with. Obviously, you want to check and make sure you're not wiping down with any poison so we get through the wrap, or whatever. But something to decontaminate that. Somebody brought that up to me. And that's a good point, because what I've been doing here, since we're having some nieces and nephews and stuff stay with us that are out of school, just to have some food in the freezer that I'm kind of portioning out and vacuum sealing, putting in the freezers and the refrigerator. But first you got to get out of the big packaging. So you've got a lot of people running through your supermarkets and your Sam's Clubs, your Costco's and stuff like that now, just rummaging through. So that's something to think about. I mean, it's all. I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime. I've been here for almost just shy of 40 years. So I don't know if any of you, lived through something like this, similar. Please, y'all, comment away. There's no right or wrong answers to this, because it's kind of like a uncharted type territory that we're seeing here, and very interesting. If anything, I told my wife the other day, I said, I wish I could just wake up and this was kind of all a dream. That it was just, oh gosh, this is over. This is, but it's become our reality, at least here in the present, right here for the next few weeks at least, and then I guess we'll gauge it from there. So, let's see, I'm trying to think of anything else I wanted to talk to y'all about specifically with the subject. But yeah, y'all take care. Be careful out there. Again, I'm gonna try to still do the cooking videos. One thing I'm not, I've got a rib video I want to put out, but something I got thinking about yesterday, and how I did the mass cookings and stuff like that, and did a lot of, some sort of excess, maybe some really expensive cuts of beef and stuff like that. I want to do more of, I won't say survival cooking, but more of lower key stuff. We happen to have some fillets in the freezer, and I did pull them out last night, and we did cook them, and it wasn't for a video, but I just kind of got to thinking, we need to, cut back, because, like I said, who knows, we could be following some really lean times, so, and a lot of people, so I don't want to try to put so much of that stuff out. Now it's more about, let's show some techniques maybe for cooking some bigger cuts of meat that you can cut up and save or something like that. Just some things I've been thinking of. But anyway, thank y'all so much. Please, sub my channel, like my videos. Thank y'all, and God bless you. And each one of you take care, and everybody stay safe out there and do the best you can. Thank y'all.